I'm Noah, 32 years old, and I own a chain of upscale four-star restaurants across New York. If you saw me today, you'd probably assume I come from a warm, supportive family, one that's bursting with pride over the empire I've built from the ground up. But the truth is far messier. My family has never respected what I do. To them, I'm just a lowly server, scraping by on $4,000 a month, not worth a second glance. They've always put my older brother, William, on a pedestal, celebrating his every achievement while dismissing mine. It all came crashing down at a family party where their disdain was laid bare, until an unexpected moment revealed who I really am. Suddenly, they were scrambling to apologize, trying to make nice. But I was done. I cut them off. And now I want to share my story with you. Tell me, was I wrong for walking away from my family? My name's Noah Sullivan, and my parents, Thomas and Patricia, along with our extended relatives, have never bothered to understand my work. They assume I'm still waiting tables, living paycheck to paycheck, with no house, no car, and no future to speak of. Every time I visit, I'm either ignored or met with cold, judgmental glares. To them, William, 4 years my senior, and a high-flying exec at a financial firm, is the only one worthy of pride. Even though I've built a restaurant empire, I'm still the outcast, the one who doesn't belong. I'm rarely invited to family gatherings, but I've sent a few $1,000s home each year, clinging to the hope of keeping some connection alive, even if they've never seen me for who I am. When we were kids, my parents tried to treat William and me the same. We got equal attention, equal assurances that we both mattered to the family. But 6 years ago, a small incident changed everything, and nothing was ever the same. I was 26, working a solid finance job, pulling in $120,000 a year. A dream for most. I was proud, content with my comfortable life, planning to climb the corporate ladder and settle into a steady future. Then, two of my closest college buddies, people I'd shared countless late-night dreams with, pitched an idea. Open a high-end restaurant in New York, a vision we'd tossed around back in school. At first, I turned them down. My job was too secure to gamble on the risky restaurant world, but the idea wouldn't let me go. I spent nights staring at the ceiling, weighing my future, and slowly my perspective shifted. If I didn't try, I'd always wonder what could have been. So, after a lot of soul-searching, I quit my job and jumped into this new chapter with my friends. To really get the fine dining world, I worked as a server at a 5-star restaurant in New York. I wanted to feel the heat of the kitchen, the pressure of a busy night, the challenges the staff faced, so I could build my business the right way, from the inside out. My family had no idea I'd left finance. They still pictured me in a suit, crunching numbers. I kept it quiet, knowing they'd see my choice as reckless, a step down. But 3 months later, it all blew up. My dad called me home after his brother, Uncle Edward, sent him a photo of me serving tables. I remember that day like it was yesterday. It was a hectic Saturday afternoon, and I was handing menus to a table when I looked up and saw Uncle Edward staring, his eyes wide with shock. I kept my cool, flashed a professional smile, and carried on, but my gut churned, sensing trouble. An hour after he left, my phone rang. It was my dad, his voice sharp as a blade. "Get home, now." I knew this wasn't going to be a simple chat. Something big was coming. That night, I walked into my parents' house to find not just my mom and dad, but William and his wife, Charlotte, waiting. The air was thick, heavy with unspoken anger. My dad didn't say a word. He just tossed his phone at me, his face blank but furious. I caught it, already dreading what I'd see. My heart sank when I looked at the screen. A text from Uncle Edward to my dad. I thought Noah was some hotshot. Turns out he's just a server. You've been bragging about his finance job and big salary? What a joke. Below was a clear photo of me in my server uniform. I never thought Uncle Edward could be so cruel. I knew he envied our family, but this was a low blow, meant to shame me and take a swipe at my parents. It hurt, but I held it together. "This is a misunderstanding," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Dad, I'm working in a restaurant not because I failed, but because I'm learning the business from the ground up. I'm starting my own restaurant." I poured it all out, the project with my friends, the dream we were chasing. I wanted them to see the bigger picture, to understand my vision. But before I could finish, William cut in. "This is insane, Noah. You had a great job, solid money. Why throw that away? You don't need to work in a restaurant to prove anything." Charlotte didn't hold back either. "You're going too far, Noah. Grinding away in a restaurant is a waste of time." My mom, who usually tried to keep the peace, couldn't stay silent. "Even if you own a restaurant, you're still just serving food to people. There's nothing to be proud of in a job that low." Each word was a dagger, cutting deeper. My dad said little, just fixed me with a cold stare and dropped the final blow. "If you're not going back to your old job, don't bother coming home again." I had nothing left to say. Their rejection crushed me, but I knew I couldn't turn back. That night, I paid the price for chasing my dream with silence, judgment, and the sting of being cast out. I realized I'd have to walk this path alone. After 6 months as a server, combined with my 4 years in finance, I'd learned the ins and outs of top-tier restaurants. It wasn't just about cooking. I understood how to manage a team, build a brand, and create an experience where every guest felt valued from the moment they walked in. We named our restaurant The Heritage, a tribute to the culinary traditions we wanted to celebrate. Located in Greenwich Village, a buzzing foodie hub, it was the perfect spot to draw diners craving something fresh and sophisticated. We started with a total investment of $500,000. I put in $200,000, and my friends, Lucas and Emily, each chipped in $150,000. It wasn't enough, so we took out a $500,000 bank loan to cover the space, interior design, kitchen equipment, and initial marketing. That first year was a grind. We leaned on every connection I had from finance, inviting former colleagues and clients to try the food and spread the word. Lucas, a PR whiz, led our media strategy, while Emily, with her marketing background, targeted local events to build buzz. Our menu was a mix of refined, creative dishes designed to feel like art, not just dinner. We hosted wine tastings, jazz nights, and intimate VIP dinners to build loyalty. By year's end, the Heritage was thriving. Steady revenue, a growing base of loyal customers, and a reputation for exceptional food, service, and ambiance. By year 3, we'd paid off the loan and recouped our investment, a huge milestone. But what lit me up was seeing our restaurant become a beloved part of New York's culinary scene. I wasn't ready to stop. As the Heritage grew, we hit new challenges. Weekends were packed, with customers turned away for lack of space. Holidays were chaos, and we got messages from people too far to visit, begging for a taste of our food. It was clear we needed to expand. When I pitched opening new locations, Lucas and Emily thought I'd lost it. They'd pulled me into this dream, but now I was pushing it further. They were nervous, but trusted me, and we took the leap. 6 years later, the Heritage has 4 thriving locations: Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx, each embraced by its community. We didn't just build a brand, we brought fine dining to people who love it, no matter where they live. Even with all this success, holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's hit hard. Since I walked away from my family, there's been no contact, no calls, no invites, not even a text to see how I'm doing. We're in the same city, yet my attempts to reach out are met with cold silence or avoidance, like they're embarrassed by me. They don't say it, but I feel it every time I try. I'd scroll through social media, seeing them smiling at family gatherings while I sat alone, wondering if they ever thought of me. Still, I sent nearly $10,000 to my parents every year, holding on to a slim hope they'd one day see me, not as the failure, but as someone who built something incredible. I told myself I was doing the right thing, keeping the relationship alive in my own way. But 3 months ago, everything changed, and I realized I don't need them. Without them, I've not just survived, I've soared. It was a Saturday, and I was at our Brooklyn location for one of my unannounced visits to keep things running smoothly. I do this to stay connected with guests and ensure our standards stay high. While I was in the kitchen, a server rushed in, telling the manager a staff member had spilled wine on a guest, who was livid. The manager moved to handle it, but I stopped him. "I'll go with you," I said, calm but firm. When we reached the VIP section, I froze. There were my parents, William, Charlotte, and a few relatives staring at me in shock, like they'd seen a ghost. Their expressions, confusion, discomfort, maybe panic, seared into me. It was the first time in years we'd faced each other, not in passing, but in my restaurant. I knew this moment was inevitable. The server started to introduce me as the manager, but I raised a hand to stop him. I didn't want my role revealed, not yet. Then William spoke, his voice thick with sarcasm. "So, this is what came of that big project 6 years ago? Just a restaurant manager, huh?" His words hit like a slap, one I'd braced for but still felt deep. I didn't respond, though anger churned in my chest. Ryan, the Brooklyn branch manager, stepped forward to clarify. "Sir, this is actually—" I cut him off, voice steady. "It's been a while. How's everyone doing?" No one answered, just silence. I wasn't surprised. They couldn't even look me in the eye, couldn't acknowledge how my life had changed. A minute later, my father spoke, his voice cold, laced with disgust. "If I'd known you were working here as a server, I wouldn't have come. It's embarrassing." My mother piled on, her tone heavy with disappointment. "It's shameful to have a son working as a waiter." I opened my mouth to respond, trying to stay calm. "Dad, Mom." But they cut me off, hands raised, eyes hard, like they were severing all ties. "Don't call us that. We haven't had a son like you for a long time. Having a child working in a restaurant is a disgrace." The air turned suffocating. I couldn't hold it back anymore. Anger boiled over, and I looked them dead in the eye. "If I'm not your son, why keep accepting the $10,000 I send every year? Isn't that money just as disgraceful?" My words landed like a slap, and the room fell silent. My father let out a cold laugh. "You sent it on your own. We didn't ask for it." I couldn't believe it. Dismissive, heartless. I took a breath, clinging to my composure, and asked, "Then tell me, what's a source of pride for this family?" My father didn't hesitate, turning to William, their golden boy. William sat back, arms crossed, smug as ever. "Look at your brother," my father said. "That's success. He's got a smart wife, a director, always in a sharp suit, not some cheap server uniform like you." It hit me then. No matter what I built, they'd always measure me against William, using him to remind me I'd never be enough. Just as the tension peaked, a deep, composed voice cut through. "Apologies for being late." Every head turned to a middle-aged man in a tailored gray suit, striding in with quiet confidence. William jumped up, adjusting his blazer, flashing a polished smile. "Boss, we've been waiting for you." The man, Robert Hayes, CEO of Hayes and Turner Financial Group, where William had worked for nearly a decade, gave a polite nod and a formal handshake. But then his eyes found me, and his expression warmed. He walked straight over, extending his hand. "Well, if it isn't the owner of the heritage." It's been a while, Noah. The table froze, stunned into silence. I didn't flinch or act surprised. I smiled, shook his hand firmly, and said, "Good to see you, Mr. Hayes. How have you been?" Robert Hayes wasn't just a financial titan. He was a longtime VIP at the Heritage, one of our most loyal patrons. He sensed the heavy air and frowned. "Feels like I walked into something tense. Everything all right?" I kept my tone professional. "Just a small incident, sir. A server spilled wine on a guest. We've apologized and offered a solution." Right on cue, Charlotte, who'd been loud and demanding compensation moments earlier, forced a smile. "Oh no, it's nothing serious. Just a small accident. I've already let it go." I didn't say a word. I knew she was saving face now that she realized who was in the room, but I didn't need to call her out. Everyone saw the truth. They finally understood who held their place and who didn't. After that reveal, I slipped back to my office, letting the party continue without me. I thought that was the end. A brief unmasking, nothing more. But I was wrong. Later, as I reviewed reports, a staff member rushed in. "Noah, they're asking for you outside. They need to speak with you." I sighed and walked to the front. The same faces that had been cold and cutting were now plastered with forced, overly sweet smiles. Charlotte spoke first, her voice suddenly soft. "Noah, about the dress incident earlier, I wasn't upset at all. Just an accident, right?" A relative chimed in, laughing. "We were just saying how proud we are of you. This restaurant is top class. Your parents must be so proud." Before I could respond, my father jumped in, his tone masked as a suggestion, but clearly a demand. "About tonight's meal, you should comp it for the family. We're kin, after all." William stepped forward, puffed up like a big shot. "Also, you should give me a VIP card, the top tier. I can bring in clients for you. It'll be good for business. And if you're serious about sustainability, maybe it's time to cut me in on the profits. Call it a family partnership." I stood behind the register, scanning their faces, each one straining to hold up a fake smile. Then I laughed, a loud, free laugh that filled the room, not bitter, just released. When it faded, I looked at them and spoke, slow and clear. "Are you people out of your minds? After everything you said, everything you did, now you want a free meal, a VIP card, a share of my business?" I paused, my tone colder now. "No, I don't owe any of you a damn thing. And if you keep standing here making demands—" I nodded toward the computer, where live security footage was displayed. "I'll send the footage from earlier, when you were all insulting me, straight to Mr. Hayes' inbox. Let's see if he still wants a director like you, William." William's face went pale. Charlotte clutched her purse tighter, eyes darting away. My parents said nothing. They knew they'd stepped into their own mess. No one spoke. They paid in full, not a cent discounted, and left, one by one, not daring to look back. I stood there, watching them go, feeling no joy, no sadness, just a quiet, weightless peace, like I'd finally set down a burden I'd carried too long. That moment made one thing crystal clear. To them, I was only worthy when I had status, money, and a name they could brag about. If I'd just been a server that day, apologizing instead of the owner, would they have softened? No. To them, respect was tied to titles, not character, effort, or kindness. I finally understood that real family loves you unconditionally, whether you're a CEO or a server, rich or struggling. You have a place. I didn't have that, but I've learned to accept it. More importantly, I've built a family of my own, rooted in respect, empathy, and genuine connection. If you've ever felt belittled by those meant to love you, compared or made to feel not enough, Let me say this. Live by your values. Don't sacrifice your peace for someone else's approval. Real love, the kind that matters, never demands you prove your worth. My story didn't end there. A month later, my father called. I saw his name on my screen and didn't answer. Minutes later, my mother called. I stayed silent. Then, a message. Next week is Mom's birthday. Come home, okay? Everyone's hoping you'll be there. I stared at the text, rereading it, not angry or happy, just wondering, do they want me back? Or do they want my money, my status? I didn't reply or go, but I sent a gift. A luxury jewelry set worth $2,000 delivered to my mother's doorstep on her birthday with a simple note. I stopped being your son 6 years ago. This is my last gift. I hope you cherish it. No anger, no resentment, just a quiet goodbye. After that, I blocked all contact. Phone, text, social media. No more waiting. No more hoping. I had given them so much, but what I needed most never came. Sometimes, letting go is the only way to protect your dignity. It's been 3 months since that day. I thought it'd be over, but they kept coming. My parents, William, Charlotte, relatives, showing up at the Brooklyn branch, asking if I was there. I'd already told staff to say I'm not around. I'm not hiding. I just don't want to face them. Some relatives, likely hearing my parents' version, send messages calling me cold, ungrateful. But friends who've seen it all from the start say I did right, that I stood up for myself and set boundaries with people who only took, never gave. I hear both sides, but I don't care about judgment anymore. I live for me now. I don't know what the future holds, whether I'll ever sit with them again, forgive them, or even want to. That's for fate to decide. For now, I'm tired, and sometimes you don't need to explain that kind of tiredness. You just stop looking back. Before I close this chapter, I want to ask you, the one still listening, if you were me, what would you do? Would you forgive, go back, or walk away in silence like I did? Share your thoughts below. I genuinely want to hear them. Dear viewers, thank you for being here. Stay tuned to the channel for tons of exciting videos. Every day, we upload fresh stories packed with thrills and surprises. Don't miss out. Comment, share, subscribe, and hit that like button.